Hello dear students, welcome back. This is Joseline AR. Today I am before you to present part number 3 of the poem Abraham Lincoln's letter to his son's teacher. In the first and second part we learned many values proposed by Abraham Lincoln. So I'm sure you would have gone through all the 42 lines. In fact, this poem contains 60 lines and I have already done 42 lines in part number 1 and part number 2. So hope you might have read the lines thoroughly. You might have understood the values proposed or written by Abraham Lincoln in the letter. Please do try to implement them in your life and see the change. Because Abraham Lincoln writes this letter in order to teach values to children. Because in school, we learn only to score marks. That is not enough. Abraham Lincoln says you have to learn values in school. And values are better taught in school by teachers rather than parents at home or friends. So Abraham Lincoln is suggesting every child to learn values because these values mold our character. They help us to become a good human being, a responsible citizen, a fine person. Only a responsible citizen or a good citizen can think of good of himself as well as good of others and the good of his country. So let us see what Abraham Lincoln is trying to tell in the next lines. Already I completed 42. This is line number 43. Teach him to sell his brawn and brain to the highest bidders, but never to put a price tag on his soul. How beautiful these 3 lines are. Teach him to sell his brawn and brain. Brawn means muscular strength. Brain means knowledge. Abraham Lincoln says, teach my son to sell his brain and brawn to gain money, to earn money. He says, teach him to sell his brawn and brain to the highest bidders. I'll just make these 2 lines clear. See, you complete your education, okay, and you get a job, right? What are you applying here to get a job? Are you applying your physical strength or mental strength, mental power? I'm sure through his your mental ability, through your knowledge, you are getting a job in a good company. Imagine you have completed engineering or medicine, and when you get a job, remember you are getting it only because of your knowledge, your mental ability. You can also earn money by using your brawn. Brawn means muscular strength. You might have seen WWE stars. I'm sure you all watch WWE, right? What do the wrestlers do there? They use their muscular strength to, they exhibit the muscular strength and they earn money. You might have, Kali, Indian wrestler, who has made a lot of money, who has earned a lot of money. He has property in America as well as in India. How did he earn them? Using his, author says, you sell your brain or your brawn to the highest bidder. Bidder means a person who purchases, things at an auction. Here, bidder means, a company which appoints you or any agency which, gives you job seeing your muscular strength. Okay, here bidders are compared to them. Author says, you try to teach my son to sell his intellectual capacity and his muscular strength to earn money and never to put a price tag on his soul. Here, never to put a price tag on his soul refers to corruptive methods. He says, Abraham Lincoln says, my son should never use any corruptive methods to earn money. Abraham Lincoln says, my son should always use his intellectual capacity or muscular strength to earn money. Got the point here? But he should never use any corruptive methods to do so, and that is to earn money. Okay, so when he understands this, he will definitely grow into a good human being. Okay, then teach him to close his ears to a howling mob and to stand and fight if he thinks he is right. Mob, a crowd gathered especially for causing trouble. Abraham Lincoln says, my son should always try to remain, that his son should always try to remain away from the mob. Because mob is a crowd which has gathered to cause some disturbance, some, violence. See what happens, when you are in a crowd, they influence you to do wrong things. Though you want to do right, they will influence you to do wrong thing. So Abraham Lincoln says, my son should not be influenced by mob. Let him remain away from the shouting, howling mob. Otherwise, though he is right, he may sometimes do wrong. Abraham Lincoln says, teach his son not to follow the howling mob and to stand and fight if he thinks he is right. The meaning is, his son should not be influenced by anyone. If he thinks something is right, he has to stand and fight alone. He should never get influenced by, the mob. This is very important, dear students, because many a times in your life you will come across a situation. Though you want to do the right, sometimes you'll be influenced by others not to do so. So Abraham Lincoln says, teach my son not to give importance to the howling mob, to stay away from them and stand and fight alone if he thinks something is right. Okay, then treat him gently, but do not cuddle him, because only the test of fire makes fine steel. Treat him gently. See, of course, students are to be treated gently by teachers. Students should not be, treated harshly. If teachers are harsh, students don't learn properly. They learn because of fear. Remember, things should be learned not due to fear or not because of fear. They should learn with love. And only teachers can do it, right? If you are harsh, they don't learn. The students don't learn. If teachers are cool and calm and patient, definitely students do learn. It does not mean a teacher should be patient always in all situations. Abraham Lincoln says, only the test of fire makes him fine steel. He says, treat him gently. Do not cuddle him, because only the test of fire makes fine steel. Cuddle means hold close to the body. Okay. Cuddle means hold close to the body. Here, hold close to the body means giving importance. See, Abraham Lincoln very clearly, is very clearly requests the teacher not to give his son a special importance because he is the son of a president. It obviously happens in many schools. If an MLA's son or MP's son or minister's son or any rich person's son is studying in the school, the teachers ought to give him more importance, right? Of course, not in every school or in every situation. In some cases, in some schools, even I too have experienced it. Because I have completed already 21 years as a teacher. I've seen many, teachers giving importance to some children because they are the children of MLAs, MPs, or some rich tycoon. So Abraham Lincoln says, please do not follow this method with my son. Do not cuddle him. Treat him gently. Of course, you are supposed to treat him gently. You have to, bestow, you have to show love on him. But at the same time, do not cuddle him. Do not hold close to the body. It means do not give more importance. If you pamper him, he will spoil. So please do not give any special priority to my son. You treat him like other children. Only then he will learn. Because he says, only the test of fire makes fine steel. Steel is very hard. How does the steel become hard? When it passes through, when it is forged in fire, it becomes hard. Steel is a symbol of strength, right? So steel becomes strong when it passes through fire. In the same way, only when a child passes through hardships, difficulties, only then he will, become very strong. Abraham Lincoln tries to tell the teacher that treat him gently, at the same time give him punishment whenever he goes wrong. These punishments are called, test of fire. Test of fire means punishments, difficult situations in life. Only when a child faces difficult situations in life, he will become strong like a steel. Okay, Abraham Lincoln very clearly defines how a teacher should be with a child. He should be gentle. At the same time, he should be, very strong. He should be, strict with the, stern with the child. Only then a child will become a fine steel, a strong fellow. One more thing, he says, do not give my son a special priority in school because he's the son of president. You please do treat him as a normal child. How many, people do have this kind of quality? I have seen such many parents who keep telling the teacher, see, he is my only son. Don't punish him. Even if he does wrong, you just don't, speak to him or don't tell anything to him. But Abraham Lincoln is not like this. He says, do not give him special importance, though he is my son, that is president's son. You need to, now your students, okay, you never expect your teachers to give you special priority because you are equal. You are not born high. Nobody is born high and born low. So you all are equal. So you don't expect any teacher or anyone to give you special importance. And also teachers should not give special priority to particular child, okay, because it destroys the feelings of other students. It will kill their sentiments. So it is very important for a teacher to be very impartial, and even you students also don't expect any teacher to give more importance to you. Got it? Fine. Let him have the courage to be impatient. Let him have the patience to be brave. Courage to be impatient. And patience to be brave. These two lines are a bit difficult to understand, right? Courage to be impatient. What do you mean by impatient? Impatient means not having patience, not able to tolerate. Abraham Lincoln says it is very easy to be patient at all times. It's very easy to be patient. But being impatient is not easy. I'll tell you what the meaning of this. You are seeing something wrong happening before your eyes. Okay, some wrong. Your friend is, doing something wrong. You lose your patience, but you don't tell anything to him because you think if I say something, the consequences may be different. He may fight with you or he may come with his parents, like that, okay? Though you lose your patience, sometimes you will not express it because you are worried about the consequences, the results. But Abraham Lincoln says his son should not be like that. Whenever he loses his patience, he has to express it. That needs courage. That's why Papa says it's very easy to be, patient. It does not need any courage. You can be patient at all times. You can be cool and calm at all times. But when you lose your patience, believe me, it's not at all easy to express. Because Abraham Lincoln faced this situation, he faced this situation in his administration. When he was the president of America, he observed that many statesmen, many politicians were not performing their duties properly. He lost his patience, but he did not express it many a times because he thought if he expresses something, it may lead to some other consequences. But he could not keep, patient at all times because he knew if he doesn't express the wrongs done by his statesmen, the situations won't change. So he burst out at his statesmen, and he saw that the statesmen corrected their mistakes and they did good for the development of the nation. Abraham Lincoln says he took a lot of courage to burst out when he lost his patience. So author says it's very difficult to show your impatience, but sometimes you have to exhibit your impatience, and exhibiting impatience is not at all an easy task. It needs a lot of courage. Being patient is very easy. You can be cool and calm, but you cannot express your impatience. It needs a lot of courage. You teach that courage to express his impatience as well, because some situations, in some situations you may lose your patience or you may keep quiet. Author says no, you have to express it. Okay, then you just try the patience to be brave. Patience to be brave. See, very confusing lines, right? Courage to be impatient. If you lose your patience, you need a lot of courage to express it. At the same time, being brave is also very difficult. The first quality of a brave person is to be very patient. How beautifully Abraham Lincoln expresses it. See, courage to be impatient and patience to be brave. Being brave needs a lot of courage, and to show your patience, you also need, being brave, you need to have a lot of patience, and when you lose your patience, you need to be courageous to express it. So Abraham Lincoln is expecting the school, the teachers to teach his son to be impatient sometimes, not always, or not to be patient always. Okay, so to express his impatience, he needs courage. You please teach that courage to him in school. Okay, then teach him always to have sublime faith in himself, because then he will have sublime faith in mankind. It's very beautiful line, sublime. Sublime means supreme. Highest, we say, He says, let him have the highest faith on himself. Only then he will have the sublime faith, the highest faith in the mankind. So you are living in a society, right? You should have sublime, extreme faith on the mankind. You are living with them. And this can happen only when you have faith on yourself. Okay, if you have faith on yourself, definitely you can have the faith on the mankind. So what kind of faith Abraham Lincoln is expecting here? Supreme faith, the highest faith. And that can happen. See, you can have sublime faith in the mankind only when you have faith in yourself first. So believing in your abilities is very important. Believing in yourself is very important. Only then you can believe others. Got the point here? So when you love yourself, when you love, your ideas, your thoughts, your feelings, definitely you can do the same with others. So Abraham Lincoln says, let my son learn to have sublime faith on himself. Only then he can have the same sublime faith on others. This is one of the most important teachings what Abraham Lincoln is expecting the school to teach his son. Okay, see. This is a big order. Abraham Lincoln completes his letter and says this is a big order. Big order. See, after reading these lines, do you think Abraham Lincoln is putting an order to the teachers to teach his son all these values? No, we understand this like this, being president of the country is ordering the teachers to teach these values. But, when we learned, in the previous lines, Abraham Lincoln, very softly is requesting the teachers. Then how come he uses the word big order? Here, big order is used as an irony. You know irony? Irony is a figure of speech where you say something and the meaning is contradictory, opposite. You say something, when you say I'm very happy, it means you're not happy. That's the meaning of irony. Big order doesn't refer to order, it refers to request. He says this is a big order, but this is ironically used. Author is not putting in. Abraham Lincoln is not putting an order here. He's requesting. He says this is a big request, not order. This is a big order. But see what you can do is such a fine little fellow, my son. Fine little fellow. Of course, every child is fine little fellow. It is up to teachers how they convert him, how they change him. He says, he is such a fine little fellow, my son. Not only son, every son, every daughter is fine. Every child is fine little fellows. It is in the hands of a teacher to motivate, to change, to teach, good things to the, to the child. That's why author says he is a fine little fellow, my son. So please treat him gently and try to provide him all the essential values which are required to convert this fine little young fellow into a good and responsible human being. Because country doesn't need selfish people. It needs only responsible citizens who can think, well of themselves, well of others, and as well as the country. Abraham Lincoln says this can happen only when, at school, a child learns values. And values are taught by teachers. And it is a duty of a teacher to treat every child gently, sometimes sternly, Only then they can convert them into a good, human beings. So Abraham Lincoln believed that school is a temple, teachers are the gods, and these gods, teachers can do miracles. So Abraham Lincoln says this is a big order, not order. In fact, dear children, is requesting the teachers to teach all the essential values to his son, in fact, all the children, so that they try to become, in fact, not try, if they learn these values, they ought to become definitely a proper citizen. They will become proper citizen, they must become proper citizen. So the intention of this letter is to convert a silly young little fellow into a completely responsible citizen of the country. Abraham Lincoln throughout this letter, is requesting the teachers to convert little fellows into leaders. They don't want the little fellows to just follow someone. They want the little young children to become leaders of the nation. And remember, a leader can convert the country into a strong nation or a developed nation or a modern nation only when he has some values, and these values are better learned at school. So Abraham Lincoln says, but you see what you can do. You means teachers, what you can do. You're such a fine little fellow, my son. So teachers are the, motivators. They are the facilitators. They have to guide the children in such a way that the children, they'll start loving themselves, they start loving others, and they start loving their country as well. So this is what Abraham Lincoln is expecting. Every child should be a leader, and that can happen only in school. So dear students, this is the end of poem Abraham Lincoln's letter to his son's teacher. Hope you might have understood, all the values what Abraham Lincoln has suggested. My advice to you is, please do read all these lines again and again. I'm sure this letter of Abraham Lincoln is a great lesson because it contains so many values. If you keep reading this letter, this poem again and again, whenever you have time, at least monthly, once or twice, and I'm sure you can change a lot. You will definitely grow into a fine human being. And the intention of the school definitely must be, to produce good citizens to the country. Such a citizen who will become a leader, and such a leader who will lead the country, like Abraham Lincoln. So try to be like a leader like Abraham Lincoln, Nelson Mandela, and our present president as a prime minister of the country, Narendra Modi ji. And these things can happen only when you have learnt values. So please learn the values and try to implement them in your life, and try to be a change. Try to bring change. Thank you. See you soon.